everyone, and welcome to my tutorial. Today I'm going to be creating a very simple poster with you in Illustrator while running you through the very first steps into using Illustrator as a program, the very simple tools you will need to succeed. So first we're going to be looking at this tool, the shape tools. There are 4 different shape tools in Illustrator: rectangle, ellipse, polygon, and star. There's also a line tool, which, as you can see, makes lines. You can adjust the stroke of it over here or how thick it is over here if you don't know what stroke means. I personally do not like this tool. I much prefer the pen tool, which I will cover in another video. But let's talk about the shape tools. I start out with the rectangle tool. It does basically what it says. It creates a rectangle. If you hold down Shift while drawing, it will create a perfect square for you. See? That's also true of while dragging this. It will create a perfect square, but otherwise it's a rectangle. All shapes look like this by default. Black border, which adjusts with their growth, and a clear inside. Now, I'm not personally a fan of this appearance. Most people aren't. It serves a very basic purpose, and that's good. But I'm going to change mine for this poster. And to do that, we're going to come over here to the appearance panels. It should be down here by default. If you want, you can drag it out, make it bigger. That's what I'm going to do for the purposes of this tutorial. I'm also going to put it here just so I have easier access to it. I don't like this stroke, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this little eye piece. This is the transparency. It's just going to completely get rid of that stroke for me. So there, it's gone. And then I'm going to go down to here, to the fill. And this little white box with a line through it means transparent. I'm going to double click that. It's going to pull up all of these colors. These are the ones Adobe has set by default. Yellow, red, orange, blue. They're nice, but they're not that great. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over to Color Mixer, or you can go... Yeah, I'm going to go to the Color Mixer. Sorry. And this just shows you how, gives you a bunch of different options to make your colors. This affects the lightness, this affects the hue, this affects the chroma, and this, of course, affects how bright the color is. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and of course, your darkness are what these stand for. Or you can come down here, which is what I'm going to do, and just hover over this color gradient. And it'll pick another color for you. I'm going to go with this yellow, which I just picked. It'll generate these colors for you. As you can see how much cyan, magenta, and yellow out of 100% there is. And it will also generate what's called a hex code. Hexadecimal codes are a system made by computer programmers to easily assign each letter on each color on the spectrum a simple hex code so that you don't have to remember these percentages. If you don't want to think about the hex codes, that's fine, just ignore them. If you want to go online and find hex codes, that's great. Many people do that. So now that I have my background set up, I'm just going to go back to my shape tool. And I'm going to get another rectangle. And I'm just going to put it... Well, first I'm going to click off. I'm going to go here to my selection tool. I'm going to click off my rectangle. I no longer need that. Now I'm going to go and get another rectangle. And you'll notice that this one now has the fill. The same fill as the one I made before, which is fine. If you don't want that, you can always just set it to none. Or another color. I'm going to make mine pink. And I'm going to get rid of my stroke once again. Now I'm going to make it much smaller. I'm going to make it a square. And I'm just going to position it here in the corner. Now I'm going to zoom in. You may be wondering, what are these little toggles on the corners? These round the shape. See, if I do it enough, it'll become a circle. But I don't want a circle. I just want one of my corners rounded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here. This is the anchor point selection tool. These are, of course, my anchor points. If you want to, you can drag them wherever you like and distort the shape however you please. Now, I don't want that. I just want to round this corner. So that's what I'm going to do. Click this nodule and drag it until my square is nice and round. That's pretty better, don't you think? I'm just going to leave that here. Now I'm going to select off. I'm going to go here to my ellipse tool. I am just going to draw a circle. But oh no, it's a rectangle. How do I fix this? Well, if you've been paying attention, the same way you make a square out of a rectangle, you hold Shift and drag. I'm just going to put this here. I'm going to drag this until it's smaller. Put this next to it, get rid of my stroke, and change my fill. Now you may be wondering, what can I do with the anchor points on a circle? You can actually do a lot. You can drag them to make them egg-shaped, or whatever shape you'd like. But most important are these little bars. These are how round each section is. Now these are 4 different curves coming together to form a circle. If I select the one in the middle, I'm selecting the entire circle. So I'm going to select these curves, and you can drag it, and it distorts this curve, which of course distorts the one next to it. Now I don't want to do that. I just want a circle. But if you wanted to, you could. You can also drag them inwards to lessen your curve. And again, if you press Shift, it only affects the one you're touching. Now we're going to look at the polygon tool. The polygon tool is different in that it doesn't just give you a shape. Instead, it pulls up this window. This is the default radius of a polygon. I don't see any need to fix that, but if you specifically know yours needs to be like 10 inches, you can set it. A polygon is any shape that is not a circle or square. You can make a square in this if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to make a nice octagon. And see, I made mine 10 inches, which is much too big. So now I'm going to have to drag it down until it's smaller, and then reposition it down here where I want it. And polygons work the same as squares. I'm going to change the color real quick. Where if you click select selection tools, you'll be given these little nodules on the anchor points where you can round them. Now, I don't want to do that here, right now, but you can. I'm going to round this one just slightly to give it an interesting look. This one too. But you don't need to if you don't want to. Our final shape tool is the star tool. And this one works like the polygon tool. It'll pull up as radius. These are your height and width. And it'll ask you how many points you want. I'm going to give mine 7. And it generates a star based on your preferences. I'm just going to pick another random color for my star. There we go. And you'll notice that this works like the square tool. But this one's different. Because if you round it, it becomes a blob, not a circle. Obviously, because there are more sides. You can also bit around the individual points if you'd like. What's important about a star tool is that you can select these points all at once. And if you do that, you can really have fun distorting the shape. It's something completely unique. This kind of looks like an explosion, don't you think? Now I like this. I think it's funky. But I would prefer if my green shape were in front of my red shape. How do I fix that? It's very simple. You click on the green shape. You left click on it again. Go to Arrange and bring to front. And there it is in front of my red shape. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We'll be adding more to this poster in the next part. I hope you join me then.